Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations to start off this new month. I got an important Gematria decode to start out today's video. I'm excited to share that gnosis with the wolf pack, and we'll also get into the charts to share some technical analysis and review the setup for the crypto markets as we've transitioned into this new month of July. Also, behind the scenes, I'm working on a new technical analysis tutorial for the Mastermind community over on Patreon, which could potentially turn into a series of tutorial videos. The first release will be on the Wyckoff method, specifically for macro analysis, where I'll be teaching how to use the Wyckoff method to navigate market cycles. And I'll also be tying in sentiment cycles along with that analysis as well, because I'm getting a lot of people asking me my opinion on that. So since we're at this current stage of the market cycle and we've had so many new wolves join our community, I really wanted to return back to the basics, and there's no better way than utilizing the Wyckoff method to develop that fundamental base layer for our overall investment thesis and bring even more value to my Patreon supporters. Some of you might already be aware that when I was learning technical analysis and learning how to read the charts, I actually learned with the Wyckoff method by studying Richard Wyckoff, and it really expedited my process, and it saved me so much time in learning how to actually analyze this market. Also, just a reminder, the new month has started on Patreon. If you've been waiting to join, I appreciate your support. You can sign up today by visiting patreon.com/watersabove to join the Mastermind community membership and get instant access to my exclusive Patreon posts, all of my weekly Red Pill podcasts. You'll also get access to our Discord server for our community group chat, and you'll unlock the biggest discounts on my courses. The link to my Patreon can also be found in the description and pinned comment of this video. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, numerology, and astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So, just a quick note on yesterday, the 30th of June, the last day of the month, and its connection to upcoming Rosh Hashanah, which you could see is right here, the Hebrew New Year, which is something we've been talking about ad nauseum for months now. So if you're unaware of this, definitely go back and watch some of my videos. If you're brand new here, welcome. We've been utilizing the Hebrew calendar specifically to determine big dates in this market. So you can see this date connected to this date, we're getting 88 days, and that 8 big number, Taurus field, the analemma, the infinity symbol. So much to say about that 8. And we got some big energy yesterday. We saw the market kind of just like negative the entire day, and then right near that monthly close for crypto, we just saw that wick get sucked up. And that's like, it's pretty obvious that we have this energy. And it's another thing to say that, this is all controlled by a time algorithm and bots and all that, but it's also pretty amazing to see how it's always on these significant dates with some of these connections we're making. So I just wanted to start out with that, and then we could kind of move on. But anytime we see a power number or an angel number or any of the master numbers connected to big dates in the Hebrew calendar, you definitely want to be paying attention to that. So one of the dates that I've been thinking about actually quite a bit, considering I was just talking about power numbers, and that would be the 44, 55, 66, etc. Let's think about 77 days until the end of Shemitah, the upcoming Rosh Hashanah. And that actually brings us to a very important date. It'll be the 7/11 date, July 11th. And this is what I wanted to start out today's video with, and it's pretty important stuff. So the 7/11 date, again, connected to the end of Shemitah, the 77 days, and we know that Shemitah is the 7-year cycle. This has everything to do with Saturn, and it's built into this global financial system and all things considered regarding big chaotic change in our world. And we're going to get pretty deep today on this video, so I think you guys are going to like this one. But that being said, we have that 77 connection from July 11th to Rosh Hashanah, and we know that Rosh Hashanah has the 77 date numerology. So I like to do two forms of date numerology. Down here you have the standard date numerology, which is just adding up single digits, and then up here you have whenever you get a double digit number, you keep it as a double digit and you add it all together, and that gives you that 77. And this has been very powerful for me doing date numerology this way regarding the market. Okay, it's something you could also do with personal decodes as well, but beyond that, we have that 77 connection. Right here we have that 77 connection, and we know 711, 7 times 11 gives you that 77. So what I want to go a little bit deeper with is, of course, we know that the 77 days equals 11 weeks because there's 7 days in a week, right? That's the cycle number. And 7 is a number of cycles. We have 7 days in a week. We have 7 years in a Shemitah, and then we have 7 cycles of 7 years, and that brings us to something called Jubilee. And we're about to enter Jubilee on this date, the 27th of this year of September. Okay, that's the start of Jubilee. And of course, when you look at that, that'll be 11 weeks and 1 day, the 111. So it's pretty important stuff when you start looking at numbers this way. But anyways, one of the things to consider about this date and the word Jubilee, let me just quickly show you this in our Gematria calculator. So Jubilee giving you that 28 in full reduction, and the date of July 11th, the 7/11 date, starts the 28th week of the year, the 2 8s. The 2 8s or the 88, just like we were talking about moments ago when we were looking at yesterday's date, that 8/8, the dual torus fields, toroidal fields. It's pretty powerful stuff, but 7, the number 7 is also considered the number of perfection and a bridge between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And 11 is that symbol of restarting everything. But the 11 specifically is not just about restarting, it's restarting as you've leveled up. So it's like you go through the numbers 1 through 9. 9 is the number of spatial infinity. And then you get to 10, the binary, the ones and the zeros. That's kind of a transition number into the 11. And the 11 is you've restarted, but you've leveled up. And this is pretty important stuff when you start breaking down some of the symbology that we're getting from these so-called elites. So we just saw a tweet recently that I was sent, and it was from a client of mine, and they showed me this Elon Musk tweet with the 7-Eleven. And of course, we have that convenience store in America, the 7-Eleven. And this, again, it's all coming back to this predictive programming and showing us some of the numbers before time. So also something that I saw when my client sent me this was that a couple of hours later, the day that he posted this, Tesla stock hit $711. So this is all coded in. This is all a show, and this man knows it. And the people who are unaware of this, they're just kind of, ebbing and flowing with the waves. But you guys here, you're aware of what's happening here, and this is all coded in. Another time we see the 7-Eleven or the 117 is actually in Bitcoin. And that's important because Bitcoin is the energy of the crypto market, and that's why a lot of you are here. You could see Bitcoin gives you the 117, all right? And then one other big connection you could see right down there is between the words Bitcoin and Jubilee in the Chaldean cipher, and that's that 23. That 23, 9th prime number. Remember what I told you about 9, spatial infinity. You know the 369 code? That number 9 is no joke, okay? So with this 23, again, this all ties back to Mercury. And Mercury has everything to do with merchandise and commerce and the fiat money system, which has everything to do with the Federal Reserve System. And you're going to see how this all ties in a moment. It's pretty important stuff. So getting back to the 77, one of the big important things you guys have to remember about the cycles is that every big world event that happens is always on a Shemitah year. And I've been exposing this for a while now. And 77 years ago was 1945, and that was the end of what we called World War II, all right? This timeline was exactly 6 years. So it was from Shemitah before that, leading to the start of this war, and it ended on a Shemitah, and then it went into Jubilee. And what's really, or not necessarily like a big one, but hear me out on this. When this was over, all of the parasitic globalist implementation of all these socialist, globalist protocols were set in place, all at the end of World War II. That was when government really globalized and really solidified its position and restructured the world as we know it. And they used this war to cover it all up, but in actuality, all it was a big banking cabal. And this banking cabal was successful. And we have the Federal Reserve System and everything that started to really get heavily implemented on the world stage, creating the mortgage, all the things dealing with government buying out upper education. And, the story has been set in stone since. I really advise people to go watch the documentary Europa, The Last Battle. It's completely for free on archive.org. You're going to learn a lot about World War II and how it had everything to do with money. That's really all it had to do with. And they utilize blood ritual sacrifice accordingly because that's what they do. They really don't have any empathy or any care for humanity. This is to just implement a control system again. And the biggest, outcome of all of this regarding World War II was a very noticeable structure of power and control over all travel, over how money actually operates, loans, housing, logistics, food, all things. Basically everything in our world started to restructure. Having both parties in the house work, this effectively doubling who you could tax, this effectively doubling the cost of living. It was very strategic. And with that being said, this event had everything to do with it. And I definitely think people should go out of their way to learn a little bit more about it. But the big connection that I wanted to make today was how 1945, September, this is very important. You see how it ends and starts in September. That's the true 7th month in the Hebrew calendar. That has everything to do with Saturn, okay? September, that even the prefix sept has everything to do with the number 7, okay? It doesn't make sense for this to be the 9th month of this year. We know this because October, how could that possibly be the 10th month if oct for octagon is an 8-sided polygon, right? So we've been talking about this for a while, but just remember how this started in September and ended in September, exactly 6 years, and they ended it one day later just to put the cherry on top. But this again was a Shemitah, all right? 1944 to 1945 was a Shemitah year, and it ended right there in September. So this upcoming September 2nd, this year, will be 77 years since World War II. Okay? So this is right on time for the end of this Shemitah. And let me show you guys something that's pretty interesting about this 7/7 date, which I want to talk about really quickly before I move on to one other date. If we go from this date right here to the recent start of the Hebrew New Year, the actual start of the Shemitah, which was September 7, 2021. Remember, I told you about the number 9 and sept, how they don't add up. Sept being the 7th month. So this actually should be the 7/7 date. And when you connect this to the start of Shemitah, the date 7/7 in the Gregorian system, because July being the 7th month is all in the Gregorian system. Remember, Julius Augustus, July, August. It's a completely parasitic, made-up, make-believe calendar, and we all have to practice it. But anywho, notice how this date, 7/7, connecting to September 7th, the start of Shemitah, is 303 days, the 33. And I'm pretty sure even World War II gives you that 33. And I'll show you really quickly. Boom, right there. World War II, giving you the 33 in Chaldean. And again, that big 138. Anyone over there on Archaix's channel, Jason Brashears, you know about that 138. So, of course, this is all tied in. Even the World War II, when you put the number 2, it still gives you that 33. And then look at how this date, July 7th, which is coming up very soon, guys. This is 6 days away. When you look at this date, you see how it's the 188th day of the year, and the days left in the year is 177. So that's the 77, the 88s again. Lots of power numbers, lots of connections here. I anticipate, there's going to be some pretty interesting times over the next couple weeks. And it starts yesterday, actually, because yesterday, again, was that energy of the 88 connecting to this end of Shemitah right here, 88 days. That 88 is like a portal. It's like a portal of energy, okay? So this is the other date that I wanted to share with you guys besides the 7/11 date, and again, connecting that all to this very symbolic tweet that Elon Musk has given out, is the date of 4th of July. So with the date of 4th of July, this is very powerful because this is considered the United States Independence Day. Many of you might have heard of this, but my channel is global, so you might not be aware. But this entire year, we've been talking about the actual connection to Pluto's return and how Pluto's return in the United States happened this year on February 22nd, 2022. So if I was to write that out, that would look like 2/22/2022. That was the date of the United States Pluto's return. The last Pluto's return that the United States had was 1776. Literally the independence year. You could see right there, 1776 was the independence. And of course, this is all make-believe. They just kind of like give you the story and the narrative accordingly. If that offends you, I don't really care. History is his story. It's all just make-believe. But with that being said, the last Pluto's return being magically on the year of the independence for the United States of America, we know that 1776 is a powerful year and connected to exactly the 222 date. Now, this was called Pluto's return. And in Gematria, I'm just going to show you guys the connections really quickly. The Pluto's return giving you the 55. All you got to do is look right there. And this is the same year of the Platinum Jubilee. You guys heard me talking about Jubilee moments ago, giving you that 55 in Chaldean. And it's the Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. And you could see Queen Elizabeth also giving you that 55. Again, this ties deeper to Satoshi Nakamoto. We have that 55 right there. We also know that we just recently had a 181 date, and that would be yesterday. You could see yesterday was the 181st day of the year. And again, that ties back to Satoshi Nakamoto. But one last thing to mention, because we were talking about Independence Day and this bigger connection to this date right here, the 4th of July, that's coming up very soon. We know that the word independence gives you that 55. Okay, so we have so many 55s, and you're asking me like, well, where's the connection here? Well, when you take from 4th of July 2022 and measure it to the end of Shemitah, the actual Rosh Hashanah date, it is 2 months and 22 days. 2 months and 22 days in the year 222. All of this having to do with the connection to Independence Day, which the last time we had a Pluto's return was in the Independence year. We had our Pluto's return this year on the 222 date in the year 222. And we know the Hebrew year we're in right now is the 5782, the 22. The number 22 is all about, you know, kind of like resets. It's not actually restarting. When I was telling you guys before about the number 11 and how the number 11 is more like a restart, it's a level up, and it's after we have these resets. And we know that, you know, that 22 number is like a master builder, master destroyer kind of number. It has that energy behind it. And that's what we're watching happen this year. We're watching massive hyperinflation, as you're seeing here with this picture. And, you know, they're getting ready for Jubilee. They're getting ready for next year, which is the 5783. And that 23, again, tying right back to Mercury, what I was telling you guys about before. Mercury being the voice between the mortals and the gods. Just like I was saying earlier about that number 7, how that number 7 is not only about the number of cycles or the number of perfection, it's sort of like this bridge between the physical and the spiritual realm. Okay? So this is pretty interesting stuff, how the date of 4th of July this year in the 222 year is connected to the exact date of Rosh Hashanah by 2 months and 22 days. So definitely, I think this date is going to be something, and that's next Monday. All right. So next Monday, then we have that 7/7 date with those 77s that we were talking about. We got that 77 right there. We got that 77 right there. And then we have that 7/11 date, which we'll keep, you know, we'll keep on with that 77 days connected to Rosh Hashanah. So we'll keep looking out for this as we get closer, because this is like a full 10 days away. But one other thing to mention before I move into the charts, I know today's a longer video, but that's kind of like what this has become. It's like waters above in like school. much better than college. But with that 7/5 date, apparently there's something going on with CERN. And again, a lot of people have brought this to my attention. I don't really have the time to look up this stuff on my own, but apparently something's going on with CERN. And we know CERN has that dancing Shiva in front of their institution over there in Switzerland. And, you know, Shiva, I mean, well, first of all, let's go to CERN. And CERN giving you that 22, just like we were talking about that number 22, the master builder, master destroyer. And then we also have that 15, just like we see that 22 and that 15 also in XRP in the same exact ciphers, the 22 and the 15. But getting back on track, CERN's logo is the 666. We know that has everything to do with carbon. And this 22 and 15 connection, I'll just quickly breeze through. The 15 ties back to tiger. We've been talking about this a lot this year, and that we're in the year of the tiger, the Chinese year of the tiger. So we know that CERN was going to be, you know, brought up in the conversation just through this Chaldean cipher. It needed to be. It's something, I mean, wasn't it inactive for quite a while, and then all of a sudden it starts to be utilized now, and then they're ramping it up quite a bit on July 5th. That's what I've been told. You guys should share in the comment section what you're aware of. Again, I haven't had the time to research this on my own. I really don't care. But what I am here, and I mean, I really don't care to research, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm always interested in what you guys think. But before I get into the charts, I just want to say a lot of people, when they learn these things about CERN and, you know, black holes and dark matter, and they start getting worried, they start getting scared, they start thinking about coronal mass ejections and food shortages and all this chaos. That's what they want you to think. They want you to get fixated on Mandela effect and all of these things regarding timelines. You know, the show Stranger Things showed you really well about what this is all concerning. Do not live in fear. Don't get scared of any of this stuff. If you've made it to this video and you're resonating, and a lot of this stuff is kind of like, it's like a receiving of a download, you know, don't live in fear. You're getting this knowledge, you're getting this gnosis, you're getting this wisdom for a reason. You know, you're in your process. And a lot of people out there are not in a process. They're just solely being strung along, like by the puppet master. So let that fear be for them. And I want you guys to live in love, you know, live in just good vibrations. Like this is part of the show, getting people to be scared about all this shit regarding, you know, these globalist parasites. So if it deals with CERN or World Economic Forum or any globalized government institution or any of that, like, don't be fearful of it. Don't even give it your energy. You know, decode it accordingly, but you could do that stoically. You don't need to do that like from an emotional perspective. Okay. So all of this stuff here is something you could learn from. Go learn about Shiva. Go learn about the symbolism. Go learn about what this really is. Because I'll let you know right now, Shiva is us. We are the creators and the destroyers, the chosen. This is nothing to be afraid of. This is our choice, just like we chose to be here. They don't control anything, these people at CERN. They're trying their best to control, but all they could control is the NPCs, and they do that through fear and manipulation and brainwash. So whatever they're showing you in these predictive programming TV shows like Black Mirror and all of that, they're trying to parasite you into a belief system so that you guys, the chosen, create this reality that they would like. That's a very sophisticated way of looking at it, and it's sad because a lot of people who are very intelligent and very, you know, in control, they start to just get caught up in the whirlwind of emotions. Don't let that happen. So I wanted to bring that up because, again, I don't have the time to study what's going on exoterically. I let people bring it to me, and I do what I do as you guys are seeing it on this video. But furthermore, you know, we're totally, it's all good in the hood. Like, everything is going to be okay. Trust me. We're just in our process, and we need to allow that process to unfold accordingly. In the meantime, in the day-to-day, keep doing your purpose. Keep doing what brings you bliss and neutrality and a state of love. Don't get caught up in the fear. So let me just quickly break down what I'm seeing in the charts. Again, today's going to be a little bit of a longer video, something we could watch a couple of times. Unfortunately, today I'm not going to be able to make my live stream, but I will be doing it tomorrow. I have some personal things that happened around the time that I need to, you know, do my live streams typically, and I'm just not going to be able to fit it in tonight. So I wanted to make today's video, you know, just like extra dope. And I'll be doing my live stream tomorrow because of that. Just got some personal things coming up tonight that I got to tend to. So with that being said, we see Bitcoin has actually had quite an interesting day yesterday where it was in the red most of the day. The wick got bought up, and then today we're just kind of returning back to that level. And we brought up a couple of scenarios, but I'm just going to break them down piece by piece. We have this level right here where my cursor is at around 21,500, and then we have this level right here around 18,900, and that is your range. Essentially, that's your daily close range. And if we were to close above this 21.5, we're going to see what's happening right now is going to be a textbook W pattern, and that's typically a bullish pattern. And the measured move would be coming up into this wick area right here, somewhere around $26,000. That'd be the measured move on the bullish breakout. And this would be your neckline right here at that first level that I shared with you, somewhere around $21,500. Then on the downside, you have this lower level right there on the daily close back on June 18th. And on that level, if we were to close a daily, we're most likely going to fill this wick from the same date, June 18th, and also June 19th. And we'd be filling up this wick into this territory right here, this 1618, 17,500 level. And remember, we were talking a little bit before about Pluto's return and how the last Pluto's return was in 1776. I just think it's really interesting how this year we've watched Bitcoin come down to that 17,700 area again. Kind of confluence leading into 4th. So maybe on 4th of July, Bitcoin goes down to 17,760 or something like that. That'd be insane. That'd be such, proof behind how make-believe, any of, I mean, it would just show you the power of this deeper code that we've been exposing over the past year or so. So that would be your W breakdown, and that would be your bottom levels. And if we're going to see Bitcoin break below those levels and start closing dailies into the 1618, that would be pretty confirmed for what's going to come next, because essentially it would just be a continuation of the downtrend. We could look into RSI, even though it's a lagging indicator when that time comes, and we could see if we're posting any divergences on the macro, meaning anything like the daily, 2-day, 3-day, etc. And if we were to continue down there, I suspect that this firmament is going to continue to be a level of support. So we have this firmament dome that's coming over here. It is pretty weird, but you can see well from this all-time high to this rejection over here, through it breaking through the firmament, it's come down to back test it perfectly twice. So this is a very, experimental form of technical analysis, or using trend lines. But I like these firmament domes. We've been doing them now for a while, and I believe they've been very helpful in seeing a weirder perspective in how this market works. Now, that would be dicey, because the next big level for Bitcoin on the downside, if it breaks this 1618, would be somewhere around 13 to 12.5. And I know no one wants to hear that right now. I know people are like, they get frustrated when they hear stuff like this about more downside, but Bitcoin typically has about an 85% correction, and it either gets it over now or it gets it over later. It's been part of the process. So does it need to do what it's done in past cycles? Absolutely not. But I'm just giving people this downside level over and over again, week by week, to just emotionally and mentally prepare you if it was to happen. So like I said, I've been personally waiting to put any money in this market until after the end of Shemitah, and that would be typically when I would expect any further flush outs. The only level I could possibly expect if we were to go lower but actually bounce along the way would probably be around 16,000. And the only reason is right here. If I was to draw a little bit of a line, you can see that that was a backtest level before continuation. So we have this rejection on November 5th, followed by a couple of days of rejections, popped above, and then we backtested it on this V-shape recovery thing. And that was when we actually broke all-time highs for the first time in like almost 4 years. So that's one last key level of the 16. And, esoterically, I've been seeing this number 16 quite a bit. I know Russia equals that 16, and Russia's been on the world stage this year. So that's just a quick side note, but something to think about. So with that level right there, that would probably be the only other level on the downside that we could possibly hold without breaking any lower. And with that being said, there's a very quick difference between 16 and 13 when we're talking about wicks. Bitcoin does this all the time. We saw this wick back on the 19th of May. I mean, just that level alone, we're talking about 24% bought up on a wick. That's fucking crazy, right? So crypto does this, okay? And if we're going to see something like that, like a washout into that $16,000 area on this upcoming full moon, for instance, that wouldn't be out of this, out of the cards. The one thing to say though, is between this level right here, around 20K, and this level, about 29, there is thin air. And we know this now because there was thin air on the breakout and there was thin air on the breakdown. Now, that whole level right there is something I would love for Bitcoin to fill out, because this means over the long term and the cycles for all other cryptos, if Bitcoin was to fill out this level in the long term for the next year or so, that would give a lot of, support for the next move up. So if there were to be a continuation on the next move up, it's going to be like a stair set. And we've seen Bitcoin likes to do that. Let me just shut off everything and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we have our first stair step, sideways, second stair step, sideways, third, sideways, fourth. And now we're in a process of determining this bottom, right? And we have a lot of things that kind of show us bottom. I mean, the structure right here and this fall down and the catch right there is pretty similar. And I've been looking a lot at this indicator right here. Let me shut off the drawings and show you. We have this market cipher indicator, which I don't promote, but I do personally use it just to look at the macro. And we could see these green dots forming at a similar territory to bottoms. You could see the green dots forming at the bottom here, green dots forming at this bottom, the very noticeable selling climax of 2018. And so far, it's actually pretty similar timed. So we have from bottom here over to bottom here, we're looking at about 1,400 days. And then from bottom here to where we're at today, it's within 1,300. So that the whole 1,400 actually still brings us into the end of Shemitah, which has been my overall, outlook, sometime into the October or November eclipse. And I even brought that up in my last interview with Coach JV over on his channel. So what we're looking at right now is if Bitcoin was to recover, the recovery could be very snappy. It could be right back up to 27, 28 very quickly because there's thin air. There is no trading range between where we're at now and around 29K. So on ETH, we have a very similar situation where we've back tested the prior all-time high. We've dug a little bit deeper. The one thing that I do like is you see this little bull trap here, how we have a blow off top, bull trap followed by a fake out. So this bull trap fake out event, we've actually essentially back tested it. And that's good because again, there's thin air between this level right here and the prior all-time high for ETH. When we broke above it, we actually started trading above it without back testing it. And since we have, and we've dug even a little bit deeper. The one thing to say about ETH though is it could get pretty bad. It could get all the way down to the 300, 400 level. And that has everything to do with this support right here, this rejection, this rejection, this rejection, and this cluster. So I'm not just making that up off the top of my head. $300 to $400 is very technical, and it would be a huge buy zone. I mean, for me at least, I don't want to speak for anyone else. I would be looking to accumulate ETH very heavy around $300 to $400. I mean, it's just a no-brainer based on the charts. And I'm looking at this logarithmically as we speak. So that's one thing to say about this chart. If I go into the daily, we do have a similar thing going on to Bitcoin where we have a W in the works. And if we were to get a daily close below 990, let's just call it 1,000, we could see a swipe down to fill this wick at 875. It would be the same play. And if we were to get a breakout daily close above 1250, that would essentially lead most likely to, let me just show you the measured move on this. It won't be as easy to see just because of the way this squishes down, but look at that. It'll be right around 1680. And we could just call it right here, this support level, which would be the where this fib is pulled. Okay, so you see the way this fib is pulled, that would essentially be that level right there. We would just come right back into what was called the prior support. And that's not a good level to get rejected at, because when you get rejected at your prior support after you broke down through it, that would confirm it as a new resistance. So that could mean, for anyone who's in open trades, open long trades built around this level, you might want to consider de-risking at 1700 or a little bit below that, play it safe and get out like at 16. So yeah, this would be a level that if we were to break back into this 1800 territory, we could quickly get to the 2000 level in short. Look at how quick ETH will do these moves off of big corrections. 130% off of this move. We got a 70%. Short order. These moves happen very rapidly. So that's kind of what they're doing right now. They're shaking out leverage, and they are also in the process of, kind of seeing what the market wants to do next. And this is obvious now with the DXY what it's doing. It's continuing to pretty much retest the prior highs. So we've been looking at this DXY chart for a while now, and we can see this bull shape has been textbook. If it continues to break out, you know, and it goes towards this 1618 level around, imagine it goes to 117 this year. That's probably where I think it'll go, actually. I'll say that on, I think at the end of Shemitah into Q4, around November or December, we could see a $117 DXY. And that would be amazing with the 117 code. So lastly on XRP, just very quickly, and there's nothing new really to say here. There's really nothing new to keep up with. This is a similar pattern to what we were just talking about before with regards to Ethereum and Bitcoin. We've got a little bit of a W action going on. But if we were to continue to break down below that 30-cent level and close dailies below 30, you know, this could easily swipe down to 28, and my target would be like around 27. That key target around 27 is just because of everything that has to do with the connection to Jupiter. And I've shown you guys this many times now, but Jupiter giving you that 27 in Chaldean, and this all tying back to XRP. XRP being the X, the 24th letter, and the logo of the Jupiter zodiac is the 24. Okay, so yep, this is looking pretty decent at this time. We know the market will be open today for a couple more hours, the regular stock market. When the stock market closes, Bitcoin and crypto are playing alone. So we can see a lot happen tonight once the stock market closes between now and the daily close for crypto, which will be around, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that time frame right there, we're going to be moving into retail only. So that means volume's probably going to be pretty low tomorrow, pretty low on Sunday. CME opening up could bring some volume. But then we start the week with 4th of July, that big date, the 222 connection. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to be releasing my Red Pill podcast for the week on Sunday. And then this upcoming week, I'll be doing that first installment of a potential series. I'm not sure how it's going to go just yet, with the Wyckoff method macro analysis. So I'm going to be doing a long-term analysis on the crypto market and see if we could kind of compare it to past cycles of other asset classes, such as the tech stocks back when we had the dot-com bubble, because we're seeing a lot of similarities between the crypto market today and the dot-com bubble of 2000, 2001. So we're going to be breaking that down. I have my own Wyckoff schematics that I was helped create, and I'm excited to share that with everyone. We'll be releasing all of those Wyckoff schematics as well in high quality PDFs over on Patreon, and that's at patreon.com/watersabove, and that'll be coming very soon, next week. So I appreciate all of you guys. Looking forward to catching you on tomorrow's live stream and the podcast on Sunday. Much love.